Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Education-Led Growth Summit. My name is Shannon Howard. I'm the Director of Customer and Content Marketing here at Intellum. Very excited for today's presentations and sessions. So we have 8 sessions over the course of the day today, all about how education can drive measurable business impact. So we would love to see you in as many sessions as possible, but you can also catch the recordings. Our first session here is going to be on the future of education-led growth with Intellum CEO and co-founder Chip Ramsey. So before we get started there, some quick housekeeping. Again, this call will be recorded. So if you want to catch the replay afterwards, we will send that to you by email. You can also find that here on the page that you're on right now. The second thing is that underneath this video, you'll find an area where there are some attachments, some resources that you're welcome to reference. There's also a place where you can provide us with a rating, some feedback. We make these events for you, and we get better with your feedback. So I'd love to invite you to share what you want to learn, what you want to hear about, future event ideas that you might have, what's top of mind for you, but also how did today go for you? Just give us some feedback there. If you do find at some point that the video quality here is a little bit blurry, there's a gear icon in the bottom right-hand corner. So you can click on that and adjust the resolution of your screen. So today we're going to be talking all about education-led growth. And this is really important to us because we believe that education doesn't just support the business, but it actually drives measurable business outcomes. So those things that our board members, our executive team are talking about, that education actually plays a huge role in driving and impacting those numbers. And so today you're going to hear from a number of presenters talking about what we've learned, what they've learned, and how they've actually been able to prove that measurable business impact that we're all looking for. So first up here, you're going to hear from Chip Ramsey, Intellum CEO and co-founder. So I had the opportunity to connect with Chip and hear a little bit more about Intellum's history, how we have innovated over the years, and how we've partnered with our customers to achieve these business outcomes, right? So the first thing you're going to hear about from Chip is a little bit about our background, how we got started. And I think this is an incredible opportunity just to hear about our heart, our mission, our vision, our passion for the world of education. So I'm going to pass it over to Chip.
So it's interesting to think about education-led growth through the lens of our history. And we've been doing this for a really long time. We started this in 2000, and at that point in time, we were selling a SaaS cloud-based product when most people were looking for on-prem solutions. And so we started off really having to scrap and figure out how we could add the most value to customers and overcome some of this trepidation of this new thing called the cloud. And so we were really looking to prove value from an early stage. We would go in and we would talk to these companies in the beginning, and most of the training that we were working with at that point in time was compliance training. And sometimes some skills-based training, but a lot of it was top-down required training. And we were competing against companies that, one was started by Paul Allen. There was these companies that were established legacy enterprise software vendors. And it was a feature list arms race. And we kind of got caught up in that for a couple of years until, I'm a software nerd. I love software. I love experiences. And I thought we could do better. And we started looking at our experience from a consumer perspective. Like, what are consumer experiences that are excellent out in the world? How do we create these great experiences that will engage learners?
Something I love about the history of Intellum is that our heart and passion has always been to create consumer-grade experiences for learning. And so we actually believe education, even if it's mandatory, even if it's compliance, even if you have to do it for work, that it doesn't have to suck, that we can actually create these enjoyable experiences for learners. And we think that's really important for businesses too, because even if your customers, they don't have to be learning, right? Your partners, they have other things that they're doing. But if we can create these really quality learning experiences, that actually makes a difference to our learners, but also to our business. And so I want you to hear from Chip a little bit more about how those consumer grade experiences influenced our early customers and then how we evolved over time.
We started building out social features. We had activity streams. Back when Facebook was a wall, we had gamification. We had all these cool features that our users were really enjoying, and it was really engaging them. In fact, to the point where Facebook noticed, and we started working with them when they were less than 300 people. And we were working with them in a capacity of helping them to scale their business, add new people in. They were getting ready to go public. So they're growing and growing, and we're doing a good job there, and other departments take notice. And in the sales and marketing department, they came to us and they said, hey, we would love to teach our customers how to utilize our ads platform. And Twitter was doing something at the time. They had sort of a CMS with some static content on it called Flight School. And Facebook wanted to do something, and they wanted to do it, to the next level.
So you just heard from Chip about our focus from internal to external. And over the course of the day, you'll hear from a number of presenters who represent internal audiences, external audiences, and all of the above. And something I love about how we have built our product is that it has been in close collaboration with our customers. So you heard a little bit about the collaboration with Twitter Flight School and Facebook Blueprint, now Meta X. But we've also, later today, you're going to hear from Allied Universal, another longtime customer, and how we have supported them as their education programs and initiatives have become more complex to support a global audience with tens of thousands of employees with very unique learning needs that require personalized learning journeys. And so I'd love for you to hear from Chip a little bit more about how we help our customers to deliver that personalized learning that we know drives learning and business impact, as well as some other innovations that we've had over the last few years.
So we built out all these features. We were building these features that had to do with taking a broad catalog to reach a broad audience, and how do we personalize that experience so we can get the right content to the right person at the right time? Because this was self-directed learning. Before, most of these people had to take the training, but now they were choosing to take the training. And we built all the public catalog and these personalization features, which were really a first for the industry. And we launched to wild success, over 1 million users in the first year with Blueprint. And really we're seeing that we were making a really positive impact on Facebook's customers. And other companies like Google and Twitter came to us and said they wanted to do something better with Flight School, and on. We started to build out what became this customer and partner education segment with new features.
Personalized learning is so important for learners, right? Because if you think about it, do any of us want to go into any kind of experience that doesn't quite match our needs, right? In today's world, consumers, learners expect those personalized learning experiences and that we're able to deliver them. Right? So that's important for the learners, but it's also important for the business, right? It's important that we, as educators, as education professionals, that we're not just educating and supporting our learners, but we're actually driving business results. And so that's something that has become much more of a focus for us over probably the last 10 years or so, is how do we help our customers to measure not just the learning efficacy, but also the learning effectiveness. How are we actually measuring business impact through our learning programs? And so I'd love for you to hear a little bit more from Chip about that specifically.
Through that, what we realized was that we were driving real business outcomes. At first, it was all about engagement, and which was kind of our history with these internal teams, but it led to us realizing the importance and the impact of what we were doing with these external teams. So what we were realizing was the smarter customers were and partners were about our customers' products, the more likely they were to retain the customer, and the more likely it was that the customer would spend more because it could see the value. They were realizing the value out of these products and services. So at that time, we're like, oh, wow, it's really amazing the type of revenue growth that we're driving, the type of retention that we're driving, and it changed the way we looked at all of this.
So, as we learned more about business outcomes, I think for external learning, it's much more obvious, right? We're able to, if we're educating customers and partners, we see the tie there between revenue and retention, growth of all kinds, right? We see the impact on customer satisfaction and customer engagement. Those numbers are maybe easier to understand, think of, measure. But it's important to think too, our internal friends, right? People in learning and development, leadership development, people who are upskilling and reskilling employees, they're actually making a business impact too. So later, I mentioned earlier Allied Universal, and I honestly am just so obsessed with their team and everything that they're doing because their work has made a huge impact on their business, right? From a cost reduction standpoint, but also an upskilling of employees, right? So not just retaining talent and saving the business money through that, but also helping people to grow in leadership. And you'll actually see that through our presenter, Brent, who has been at Allied Universal for the last 24 years. So he's been learning and growing alongside the rest of the employees there. I'd love for you to hear from Chip how we have expanded our vision, taken what we've learned from programs like Meta and Twitter Flight School, and applied that to internal learning and development.
And so we applied that lesson back even to our internal customers, who in many ways at that time, people were just looking at engagement. And so we were saying, hey, there's something more than just engagement, just the people who've taken this, who've completed it. It's what impact does it have on business outcomes? We were seeing things like cost reduction. We were seeing things like performance that we could correlate to better education, like an onboarding of an employee may end up making their time to value much shorter. So that's where all this mindset for us was born, was that transition to external that opened our eyes not only to external, but to internal. So we've been doing that for many years, and that's been part of every implementation and engagement that we have. But around 2019, we decided we wanted to learn a little bit more about what the market was thinking about this.
So far, we've been talking about some of Intellum's history, how we've grown, innovations over time, how our product has evolved to support the changing needs of education teams and programs and leaders. And so something that's also been really important to us here at Intellum is to be tied to the research, right? So we actually have built our product on learning science, and we've partnered with researchers and universities to better understand what is it that actually drives learner engagement. What is it that creates truly effective learning? How can we create not just consumer grade experiences and look and feel, but that also are actually grounded, rooted in science? And so in 2019, we partnered with Forrester we commissioned a research study from Forrester to understand how customer education was moving the needle for businesses. We wanted to understand what is the state of the state with customer education and how are people proving business impact? What metrics are they tied to? So we conducted that research in 2019 and then did updated research here in 2024 to understand that. So I'd love for you to hear a little bit from Chip about what we found in that research, what Forrester found in their research of over 300 customer education decision makers and executives.
We decided we wanted to learn a little bit more about what the market was thinking about this. And we did some research with Forrester that we published in 2019. We've done it again in 2024. And what we're finding is that in the current state of the market, when it comes to this education-led growth mindset, 96% of the companies that were surveyed said that they had confidence that they were at least break even on the investment, but a majority of them were seeing positive business outcomes that they were driving. Now, a bit of a contradictory point was also found, which is that there was decreasing confidence in the tracking and reporting of the engagement data and its correlation to business outcomes. So we realized that that's something that people struggle with.
So Chip just highlighted that the Forrester research found that most businesses, most education teams, they're showing either a positive ROI on their education programs or that they're at least breaking even. And I love what the analyst had said about the breaking even is, okay, maybe there's not a return on investment that we can measure. But if you think about what would happen if you removed education from the equation, we can actually see that education is far more impactful than just a number that we can calculate. So incredible that we have been able to measure this so far. But as Chip mentioned, we also have decreasing confidence. And I'm sure that maybe you're experiencing this too, right? We live in a world where every team is working with so many different pieces of technology. Our organizations are more siloed than ever. Our tech stack is cobbled together, and it really doesn't matter the stage of business that we're in, right? Maybe we're building our tech stack, we're in the process of building it. Maybe we're transitioning things, right? We're a more mature company, but we're introducing new systems and phasing out old systems. Maybe we've acquired companies and we're integrating systems. There are so many different things that impact our ability to track and measure performance. And so we know that this is top of mind for a lot of education leaders. And so I'd love for you to hear from Chip about how we're thinking about connecting the dots and helping our customers to track, measure, and report on the performance, not just of their learning programs, but of the impact on key business results.
What we did to address that is we created initiatives within the system a few years back where you can set up your content with an initiative. So perhaps it's employee onboarding, maybe it's a partner certification, but you can encapsulate all content within those initiatives. And then we have data that's set out for user acquisition, for the engagement, who actually converted to clicking into the course and starting it. Then the engagement is who's actually going through and completing it and at what rate, where maybe drop off may be. And then we also have the learning efficacy where we're connecting all of that down the line to their performance on assessments of their mastery of the content. So we're doing that within the platform. And then we're also connecting that data back to these business outcomes that every initiative typically is driving. So we have that as part of the way that we consult with our customers on a quarterly or biannual basis. And so that is the way that we're addressing that, and there'll be more to come about that today. The other thing that we've noticed in the current state of the market is over the last couple of years, this is sort of obvious, or the last year or so, there have been cutbacks. There have been cutbacks in headcount, there have been cutbacks in budget, and that's usually organization-wide, but a lot of the teams that we're working with are experiencing that as well. So we know that there is this pressure to be able to perform, to be able to prove those business outcomes, but to be able to do that with less people, less budget than you've been able to do before.
So the initiatives that Chip was talking about are definitely important and impactful in solving this problem of these disconnected, disparate systems, and how do we measure the impact of learning on those key business results. But there's also other challenges that are emerging. And I know we all hate the saying to do more with less. I personally hate that. And I like to say, try to bake more cakes with fewer ingredients and tell me how that turns out. Fortunately, though, with technology, it is not quite the same as baking cakes. And there are actually ways that we can increase efficiency and we can very practically do more with less through things like automation and AI. And these are areas where we are really focused at Intellum, not because we want to be part of this AI hype cycle, but more because we actually believe that with the right focus, the right effort, the right intentionality, that we can make not just incremental improvements in efficiencies for teams, but we can actually really significantly move the needle to help you not only measure and improve those business outcomes, but continue to prove business value as you scale to more learners and try to do more with less. So I'm going to I'd love for you to hear a little bit more from Chip about how we're thinking, what those things are, like what are those things that are going to significantly move the needle for you and for your learners through automation and AI.
So today, what we're going to talk about with the rest of the sessions, you're going to hear from a few people at Intellum, and we're going to talk about how you track, back to that education-led growth mindset, how you track and report with confidence so that you can show that you have pushed forward these business outcomes in a really positive way. And we'll have more detail about that in a coming session from Intellum people. We will also have an Intellum session where we talk a little bit more about our thoughts on AI and how we're applying it to those 3 use cases. But more importantly, you're going to be hearing from our customers about how they have actually been able to prove that they are driving these business outcomes for their organizations, connecting that engagement data with the business outcome metrics that they're trying to drive. So we're really excited about today. We really appreciate all of the partnership we've had with our customers and everyone that's been involved, and we're really excited for you all to see what we have for the rest of the day for you, and look forward to hearing from you afterwards. So thank you very much.